We're witnessing a sort of cancer in broadcasting, a petty performative class of digital demagogues who confuse cruelty with courage and spite with journalism. And this week has given us two prime examples: Dan Wootton's baseless smear of journalist Andrew Gold and Alex Belfield's continued abuse of Philip Dehaney and, frankly, anyone who hasn't got a restraining order taken out against him. Uh, and Philip is a man he's already been convicted of stalking. And both incidents reflect something deeper: a culture of monetized malice in which online personalities use their platforms not to inform or enlighten, but to wound, provoke, and profit. In the case of Belfield, he's got two little pictures of the front covers of his books, which he's promoting, and he's saying that Philip Dehaney has bought them. Well, it's not true. It's simply not true. The only reason he's doing this, presumably, the only reason I can assume is that he wants an excuse to be able to promote his books. In the same way, he's put out a thing saying that his tour has been cancelled. His tour, there's only one venue that he's actually booked, as far as I can see, and that he's got a rather pitiful number of patrons who have foolishly bought tickets, and he claims that he's been told the tour has to be cancelled because he can't profit from his time in prison. Well, I think the only thing that's been cancelled formally is the mugs with his mugshot on, which but this whole idea of profiting from prison, I don't quite know. Don't quite know where he's got this idea from anyway, because there are other people who have profited from prison. Lord Archer profited from prison by writing a book, I think, Prison Diaries, and quite a lot of stuff actually he wrote from his prison experiences. So it's difficult to quite know what is true and what is not true when it comes out of the mouth of somebody like Alex Belfield. Both incidents, both the Dan Wootton incident and the Alex Belfield incident, both reflect something deeper, a culture of nastiness. And let's begin with Dan Wootton, who posted to his substantial audience, a substantial audience, it is a defamatory allegation that Andrew Gold had secretly worked with Byline Times in an effort to, quote, destroy him. Now, Andrew Gold is a serious journalist, respected by his peers, known for taking on difficult, sometimes controversial subjects. He's also a man who has shown integrity in both his investigative work and his responses to criticism. And what makes Wootton's attack so disturbing is its intent. It was not a criticism of work, but a character assassination, and one that relied on conspiracy, innuendo, and dog whistles so familiar to observers of online abuse. It's no accident that Gold is Jewish and that the language Wootton uses skirts dangerously close to old tropes about clandestine influence and loyalty. I was deeply shocked. That Wootton blocked Gold before posting his allegation is cowardice masked as confidence. And if you're going to accuse someone of secret plotting, the least you can do is allow them a right to reply. But instead, he hid behind the algorithm, speaking to his echo chamber, only to find that even many of his own followers were not persuaded, and rightly so. Gold responded with humour and clarity. Gold is the mature man in this situation. Why did he use such a handsome photo of me, he asked, and the levity masked a more serious point. This was not mere trolling. It was professional sabotage. A man's livelihood, reputation, and mental health were targeted. And for what? For clicks, for vengeance, for ego. And we should be grateful that Gold, with his journalistic experience and relative platform, could respond, but not everyone can. And that brings me to the second case. Alex Belfield is not merely a disgraced former broadcaster. He's a convicted stalker, a man found guilty of persistently and abusively targeting several individuals, including the journalist Jeremy Vine and the theatre blogger Philip Dehaney. Yet Belfield continues to post videos, still mocking, still attacking, and his latest effort includes a new jibe at Dehaney, whom he refers to as a victim, in mocking quotation marks, and whom he had previously implied as HIV positive during the criminal trial Effectively he was outed. It's an act as vindictive as it was cruel. And what makes this case especially harrowing is that Belfield and Dehaney have never even met. This wasn't a feud or a falling out. It was a campaign, unprovoked and sustained, designed to humiliate, dehumanize, and intimidate. Of course, it hasn't done that. In the end, Philip has risen above this, but at the time he felt defeated, miserable, and anguished by this. What is this Alex Belfield man? He's just a bully. And that Belfield targeted Dehaney's parents, threatened to broadcast private phone calls, and persisted with legal-sounding threats dressed in pseudo-legal jargon is the very essence of stalking behaviour. The judge said it plainly. Belfield inflicted serious mental harm on multiple victims, and Dehaney is now seeking civil redress and, if successful, has pledged to donate the legal damages to the Terence Higgins Trust, a noble and defiant gesture that speaks to his character. But even now, Belfield's supporters remain sending messages of hate, denying the court's findings, repeating his smears. Belfield doesn't think that he was really imprisoned for harassing. He thinks he was a political prisoner. This is what online spite engenders: an army, a shadow army of enablers, echoing cruelty with plausible deniability. And both Wootton and Belfield cloak themselves in the language of free speech, but what they practice seems to me to be unaccountable speech. They don't inform, they incite, they provoke, they badger, they prod. There's room for all that prodding, but their prodding is disturbing. They don't investigate, they insinuate. They weaponize gossip, amplify paranoia, and target the vulnerable, all while cashing in on the drama. Criticism is not abuse. Disagreement is not defamation. But what we have seen this week is neither criticism nor disagreement. It's part of a larger trend of vigilante broadcasters acting without editorial oversight, without legal caution, without human decency. So what do? We support people like Andrew Gold and Philip Dehaney, who refuse to be silenced. We push for tighter enforcement of existing harassment laws on platforms like YouTube and X. We stop pretending that this is part of a game. It's not a game. It's a structural corrosion of civil discourse. It happens in social media. It happens in reality TV. It's about a loss of agency. And finally, we refuse to give airtime, subscriptions, or credibility to those who turn YouTube into a courtroom of cruelty. Wootton's attack backfired. Belfield has been convicted, but there will be others. There already are others. And that's why it's necessary to speak up, not just for the victims, but for the standards of truth, decency, and responsible speech that we must demand in the public square. And that should be the answer to all of this spite